Hello everyone, so today we're gonna go through a very popular topic, quadratics, and we're gonna be solving some quadratic equations. So what is a quadratic equation? A quadratic equation can be written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, as you can see here, equal to 0, where a, b, and c are real constants. And I failed to add one more condition where a is different than 0. Why? Because a quadratic equation is called so because the highest power to x is 2. So if in the case a is equal to 0, it's going to remain as bx plus c, and in that case we cannot call it quadratic equation. That's why such a condition is necessary. Anyways, a quadratic equation can either have one, two, or no real solutions. And let's not talk too much about this and start solving some equations. So I've got the first one. It says x squared minus 2x minus 15. So there are different ways on how to solve quadratic equations. One of them is factorising this expression, and we've covered how to factorize such equations in the previous videos, but I'm still gonna go through it not so much detail, but yeah, I'm still gonna go through it briefly in this one as we solve it. So to solve this first, we need to factorize it. So x squared minus 2x minus 15. So I need to find two numbers. As I said earlier, like referring to this, I need to find two numbers that when you multiply them together, it gives you minus 15, and when you add them together, it gives you minus 2. So such numbers exist. In this case, is 3 and minus 5, because 3 times minus 5 is minus 15, and 3 minus 5 is minus 2. So as you can see here, x squared minus plus 3x minus 5x plus 3x minus 15 equals to 0. So as you can see, I found a way on how to separate this in a way that I will end up with a common factor, and you will see in 1 second. So factorizing these two together is going to be x minus 5 plus 3x minus 5. So factorized by 3 here. So as you can see, we have come to a stage where we have a common factor. I'm gonna write it here, and then what remains here is x, and on the other side is x plus 3, and that is equal to 0. Okay, so we're gonna, because it's equal to 0, that means either one of them is 0. So remember, you only need one number. Like when you have a product, you only need one thing to be equal to 0, so everything is equal to 0. So in this case, everything is equal to 0, so then either x minus 5 is equal to 0, or both of them. It doesn't matter, okay? So it's either x minus 5 or x plus 3 is equal to 0. So we're going to solve for this one. So we know in an equation, when you move, we want to solve for x, so we need to move the number to the other side. As we move it to the other side, it changes sign. So we have x equal to 5 or x equal to minus 3. And hence the solutions are, so we said we can either have one or two or no real solutions. In this case, we have two. So the solutions are x equal to 5 or x equal to minus 3. So let's move on to another example. X squared equal 9x. So in this one, it is a quadratic equation because the highest power is 2, but we have to write it in this form over here. So we need to equal it to 0. So let's do that first, then start working on it. So moving my 9x to the other side, it changes sign, and then we're going to get x squared minus 9x. And Here I have a common factor, which is x. So x times x minus 9. So now I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to set either. So I'm going to say then either x is equal to 0, okay, or x minus 9 is equal to 0. As we said earlier, so either of them has to be equal to 0 for the whole product to be equal to 0. And I'm going to solve for this one. And as we solve, we know that this one's going to be simply x equal to 9, right? Hence, the solutions are, again, we have two solutions in this case. The solutions are x equal to 0 or x equal to 9. One more example. So this one, we have 6x squared plus 13x minus 5. Indeed, this is it's a quadratic equation that is equal to 0. How to solve it? We're gonna attempt to factorize it. So I'm gonna use the method I've used earlier, so AC. In this case, my A is 6 and my C is minus 5. So the product is gonna be minus 30. And my B in this case is 13x. As I said, we are referring to this one when we find in the A and B and C. So my B is 13. Okay, I'm gonna find two numbers that if you multiply them together is gonna give you minus 30, and as you add them together is gonna give you 13. So which are these two numbers? I can think of for minus 30, 15 times a minus 2. So 15 times minus 2 is minus 30 when you multiply them, and when you add them together, 15 minus 2 is 13. So 6x squared plus minus 2x plus 15x. Again, I said this one, when you add them together, it gives you 13x. So we just split this in a way that it's going to give you a common factor later, and as you're going to see in the next step. So this one, minus 5 equals to 0. I'm gonna factorize by the highest common factor between 6x squared and minus 2x. So the highest one is 2x, x minus, so 2x, so here remains 3x actually, minus 1, and on the other side, the highest factor is 5, and there remains 3x. 5 times 3x is 15x, then minus 1 is equal to 0. As I said, we have a common factor now, so we're doing things right, I guess. So 3x minus 1, and then 2x, whatever remains, so 2x and plus 5. And if you find in difficulty factorizing still, I've got a video for that where I went through it in so much detail, so please check that out. And now I'm gonna get into the step where I'm gonna set both of them to 0. Then the solutions are either 3x equal minus 1 equal to 0, or 2x plus 5 equal to 0. And I'm gonna solve for x. In this case, 3x, I'm gonna move to 1 to the other side, yeah? So, and for this one, the 5 is gonna move on to the other side, okay? I always like to do it simultaneously. Some people, you can do it one by one, but I do them together as I'm going through it. So x is equal to 1 over 3, okay? And this one, you divide by 2 on both sides, and it gives you x equal to minus 5 over 2. So as you can see, so the solutions are to this quadratic equation. So the solutions are x equal to 1 over 3, or x equal to minus 5 over 2. And the reason why we say or we don't use and is because either one of them, it doesn't matter whether it's minus 5 over 2 or 1 over 3, the product here still will give 0. When you use and in maths, it means both conditions should be true, but in this case, it's not necessarily, because um, one of them is sufficient for us to have this kind of statement to be true, if that makes sense. So I'm just giving you an idea that or and in maths, it doesn't mean the same thing, so don't use it carefully. So the next one, x squared minus 5x plus 18 equal 2 plus 3x. So for this one, again, we have to get it to look like something like this. It should be equal to 0. On the left-hand side, a 0 should appear, and then we have to simplify it. In simple terms, we have to simplify this one. So I'm gonna move everything from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, and I'm gonna get x squared minus 5x. I'm just writing things as they are, and minus 2 minus 3x, okay, equal to 0. So here, when you put them to the other sides, they change sign, so it becomes minus 2 and minus 3x. And now we're going to get onto simplifying, so x squared stays the same, minus 5 and minus 3, minus 8x plus 16 equal to 0. Okay, so we've got to factorize this expression. So as I said, my a c here is 16, because a is 1, c is 16, and my b is minus 8. So two numbers that if you multiply them together, it gives you 16, and if you add them together, it gives you minus 8. I can think of two, minus 4 and minus 4. Minus 4 times minus 4 indeed gives you 16, and if you add them, it gives you um, minus 8. So minus 4x plus 16 equal to 0. I'm gonna find a common factor, which is x between these two, minus 4x minus 4. So you can see if you expand this, you're gonna get here. So it is true. Minus 4 times minus 4 is plus 16. So having that appear here, we're gonna get this factorized as x minus 4 times x minus 4. So then normally we would say either one of them, but because they're the same thing, so we only have one solution here, because you can't say either x minus 4 equals 0 or x minus 4, just being repetitive. So in this case, we only have one solution, and it's just x equal 4. So the quadratic equation has one solution, and that is x equal 4. Okay, now we're gonna move on to example 2, where we've got it's still a quadratic equation, as you can see. So because if you were to expand this one, it will have the highest power is going to be 2, and you still can solve it. But when you have it factorized in such a way where it is let's say x a in a way that is like ax plus b squared equals c, if it's in this kind of form where you have a and b and c are real constants, and you've got a square, so it's better to solve them this following way, so which I will explain in a second. Rather than going through the whole factorization, it's going to save you time if you do it this way. So what you can do here is you square root both sides, if that makes sense. So because it's a square, then like x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus square root of 7. So let me write here the general form. Ax plus b squared equals c. So when you solve it, it becomes ax plus b plus or minus c. Why this is true? Okay, let's think of an example. For example, if you have 9, okay? So plus 3 or minus 3, if you square them, right, they give you 9. So that's the same concept here, okay? So 9 being here is 7 if we were to make a comparison, and x minus 3 is 3 or minus 3. So it makes sense that way. That's why we say that it can either be plus square root of 7 or minus square root of 7. So solving this, 3 moves to the other side, so it's become 3 plus or minus square root of 7. So the solutions are x equal to 3 plus square root of 7 and x equal to 3 minus square root of 7. Okay, moving on to the next one. We're gonna do the same thing, okay? So in this case it does follow this form. So this one is gonna become 2x minus 3 equal plus or minus square root of 25. Square root of 25 is, because 25 is the square of 5, so it becomes 5, right? And this is 2x minus 3. So I'm gonna solve for x. So 3 is gonna move to the other side, and we're gonna have 3 plus or minus 5. And then I'm gonna solve for x, so I'm gonna divide both of them by 2. Okay, so on the right hand side, left hand side, in here remains x, and on this side we have this expression which we will compute in a second. So in the case it's 3 plus 5 over 2, it gives you 8, and in the case it's 3 minus 5 over 2, so 8 over 2, which is 4, is equal 4, and for this one 3 minus 5 is minus 2 over 2, which is minus 1. Okay, so thus x equal, so the solutions are x equal to 4 and x equal to minus 1. And that shall mark the end of the lesson for today. Tomorrow, in the next session, we'll cover more of this, 2 more questions and another method onto how to solve quadratic equations, because not all of them can be solved through this method or the factorization one. So we've got to use a special one where we're going to be using a formula. So we will check that out tomorrow. I shall see you in the next session. Bye.